So let's try a slightly more complicated version of a similar problem or molecular formula. So a compound has 68.42% chromium, 31.58% oxygen by mass. The molar mass of the compound is 152 grams per mole. What is the molecular formula? Just like we did in the first example, we're going to assume a total mass of compound of 100 grams. And we're going to assume that these percent values correspond to the gram value of each atom in that compound. So let's plug these numbers in. I already went to the periodic table and got the molar mass of chromium, which is around 52. Remember, we can round because these types of problems typically involve rounding and they tend to be very rounding friendly. And the molar mass of oxygen is 15.999 grams, which I'm going to estimate as 16 grams per mole. The mass of chromium in my compound is 68.42 grams. And the mass of oxygen in my compound is 31.58 grams. Once again, to get the moles, we take the mass in the compound divided by the molar mass, and we do this for both rows. We find the smaller one, and we divide everything by the smallest one. So we're going to see here that chromium is a smaller one, so let's divide everything by this value, 1.315769231. Divided by D2, make this an absolute reference, so it divides by the same value, so that's 1. Oh no, 1.5, we have a decimal. We can't have half atoms in a molecule because atoms add in molecules as all or nothing. You can't have half atoms. What can we do? It's a simple fix. What we do, we just multiply everything by a value that's going to make both of these whole numbers. And I'm going to multiply these by 2, because I know if I multiply 1.5 by 2, it's going to give me about 3. So now I have good numbers to work with for my empirical formula. This value shows me here that I have 2 chromiums, and this value down here shows me that I have 3 oxygens. So I know that my empirical formula is Cr2O3. That's my empirical formula. That's the simplest whole number ratio. How do I get the molecular formula? Well, the problem told me that my molar mass of my compound is 152 grams per mole. Whoops. So that's molar mass of compound. And remember, I'm first going to calculate the total mass of my empirical formula. I have 2 chromiums, I have 3 oxygens, 52 grams per mole on chromium, 16 grams per mole on oxygen. I have 2 chromium, so I have to multiply the molar mass of chromium by that 2. Likewise, I have to multiply the molar mass of oxygen by this 3, and it gives me these values. I take the sum of this. This gives me 152 grams per mole. 152 grams per mole is also the molar mass of my compound, and 152 divided by 152 equals 1. 1 times Cr2O3 simply equals Cr2O3. So it turns out that in this case, my empirical formula was equal to my molecular formula.